Okay, so let's talk about the proper way to create, write, and then publish a post. All right, Bruce? So, what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to utilize the information from this progress is something slow, but quitting is forever post. And we have to look at this from the beginning at what we're going to optimize for. Progress is something slow. That's what I chose here only because that seemed like a good place to kind of start as far as helping to motivate people by saying, hey, sometimes progress is slow. It's not a big deal. Let's figure out why our progress is slow and move on. That's kind of what the article's talking about. But we need to figure out the focus phrase first, right? And when we figure out what that focus phrase is, if we go back to our blog posts, you'll see that um, effective weight loss principles, that pretty much tells you what it's going to talk about. So this phrase here, this title, is going to be our focus phrase. The focus phrase can also be in the title. It doesn't have to be the entire title, but it has to be in order. So you could, for instance, use this one. You could optimize for weight loss program. Okay. And how do I start running is a pretty good, complete focus phrase. We don't need how I am starting a 90-day weight loss program. We don't need that whole thing for SEO purposes, right? Um, for instance, this, we wouldn't really need to put success. We could just say endurance athlete's guide because those are the types of things people are going to search for. Um, when you do things like keep at it, keep it what? There's nothing in the title that gives us anything to optimize for. Jennifer Fugo interview, that can be optimized for, right? Because we can just use her name and the interview. People who know of her, they can if they know Jennifer, if they're looking for Jennifer, then we can optimize for that and we can find that and it's optimized in the video and all that other good stuff. Uh, Depression and a potential aid. Not terribly bad, but we don't want these words in here. Okay? They're called stop words. And what stop words are words that hinder a keyword phrase. Stop words, let's see. You can just Google it and you get the gist. About, English stop words list. You see all these words. Okay, these are what we want to try to avoid in our focus phrase. Not in our title, okay, but potential aid is not our title. For is a stop word. So we have to determine, right? So you couldn't say potential aid for depression, right? So we want to get kind of creative when we're making these. I don't know, let's see. So is in here? I'm sure it is, right? What is the definition of is? Is right there. So progress is sometimes slow, but quitting is forever. Um, Quitting is forever. Maybe, but see, here's the key. We don't need these quippy, catchy titles. The title is most important because it's going to hold the focus phrase, and it's going to be part of the URL which holds the focus phrase, because when we optimize, we are optimizing for all these things down here. Okay, so whatever our focus phrase is, we're optimizing for the title. Okay, you see our focus phrase is in the title. We're optimizing for the URL. Okay, it's in the URL, and I just got rid of the rest of it because it doesn't serve us any purpose. You can have the title to be so long, but the main portion of our focus phrase is progress is sometimes slow. The SEO title, that's the title that's going to show right here, right? That should include the focus keyword and always the name of the website, right? The name of the company, whatever. The meta description generally is after the article's written, we're going to take a portion that includes the focus phrase, which is progress is sometimes slow. And we are going to utilize that so that it appears in here, right? So we have it here, we have it in here, and it's in the URL. So when people search, you're bombarding Google with all of this information. Okay. So how do you deal with the fact that progress is sometimes slow? First, understand that you are not alone. This will tell you that this is how long this should be. It's 156 plus 9 is 65 characters, which includes spaces. So let's see. Where did I grab that from? Okay, so how do you deal with the fact that this is where I grabbed those couple sentences? And they don't have to be complete sentences, of course, right? When we put them down here, you just use an ellipses and that's going to pretty much force them to continue on and click and say, oh, what's this talking about? They see their focus phrase. If we go back to this stop word search, right, I wanted to find a list of stop words. And so I put in my search criteria, stop words. Wikipedia, of course, is going to pop up. English stop words, ranks NL. NL is let's see, Newland, I don't know. It's a foreign country, I suppose. These are known as stop words. There's information on it here. So we see it here. We see it in the URL. And for the ones that have the most impact, it's also in the meta description. Okay. Now that meta description doesn't necessarily have to come directly from the post. But because the keyword density that we are shooting for is a certain, like, for the length of the article, we should have a keyword density. In this one, it's 3 times it's found. We could probably add it in another 2 times and be right at a green marker. This isn't terrible. It's not going to kill us, but you see here it says we have stop word. We found is. And that's because when I went to rewrite it, this particular topic was too difficult to reword in a way that was going to make it completely perfect. The other thing is you didn't provide any images. There has to be an image on the page with the focus phrase. Okay, so we want to put an image on here, and then we also need to use that and assign it as the featured image, right? You click on featured image, you pick the image that you uploaded to the page, and then it's going to appear here in a thumbnail. Otherwise, you get what we have here. And we have an image, no image, an image, no image, an image, no image. Now, you don't have to really know all of this about the SEO, but the tools, the mechanisms, the elements that to make a post successful in terms of SEO need to be there, and I can't just make stuff up. Now, I can go and find an image that I think may work, but if you're writing the article, you've got a ton of images that you've been using on Facebook, and I believe in one of my messages I had told you I need an image for this. But what you want to do when you create an article is you want to title it something that is going to be pertinent to what people are looking for. What are they searching for? Senior health tips. Okay, now you see there's no stop words in there. Senior health care, we get past this pink section. We ignore that typically because those are paid. Staying healthy over 50. How to feel young and live life to the fullest. Helpguide.org, Life Healthy Living, Senior Exercise, Health News, Fitness Tips, Healthcare, Medicare, Healthy. You see where we're hitting in this search criteria. This may be Senior Health Tips, City of Bloomington, Minnesota. Looking for senior housing. I mean, if you go health tips for seniors, you notice it didn't really change much. So we're getting the same information that's being optimized for without that stop word in there. Okay? And the title of your article can be whatever. I mean, it can be senior health tips, colon, right? Staying fit after 50, right? That can be a title, and senior health tips is our focus phrase. And you see here, staying active, staying fit over age 50, and even staying fit over 50, right? I mean, that doesn't have any stop words over in it. Staying fit after, I don't think after was so if you Google stop words and you go to and you find this ranks.nl, then you can get kind of a list of things to avoid if you can. Now, these aren't hard, fast rules saying that if you have a stop word that you're going to be banned from Google. That's not it. The point is every little edge, every little bit that you can do to stay ahead of the race, right? Talking in your terms, to stay ahead of the race, every little push of that pedal, every little sliver of aerodynamics that you can give into your bike race is going to push you a little further. Now, after is in the list. So this list uses our page analyzer and article analyzer for English text when you let it use the default stop word list. So again, even something like this, you can maybe we can check a little bit further and get the URL for this. You know, maybe you bookmark this and pay special attention to the following keywords: optional, HTML. I've never used this, but we actually use already a method for tracking this kind of stuff. Tied into the SEO plugin. But I mean, that's something that you can play with, you can look at, you can, you know, if you want to learn a little bit more on your own. The main thing is when you're writing an article, any article, you want to think in terms of search. First, I mean, you can write the article out. You can jot down notes, ideas, whatever it is. But then whatever it's about is where you need to focus. That's why we call it a focus term, a focus phrase, a focus keyword. Is where do you want your audience's focus to be? How to begin running. Now, this article about how do I start running? Not a bad title. Let's see what comes up in Google when we enter that. Okay, we get some about a beginner's guide to start running program. So there's a lot of competition for this, and that might not be a very profitable focus phrase for this particular article. Okay, we don't have an image for this article. You know, here's one of you running. This was already used. So here's another one of you running. This one's already used. I'm not going to use that one again, right? So we don't have an image on this post. We also want to look at the title. Is there something that we can do to change this title and this URL? Because that's going to be, as soon as you put a title in, the URL is automatically created through WordPress, right? And if we do this, then, and you should also disable these replies. We don't want these open replies. You get a lot of spam, okay? And we don't want that. If we want to put a comment section, then I'll create a Facebook comment section that people can use their Facebook accounts to comment. It's much easier, much better. It also, you know, therefore gains you popularity on your Facebook page. But nonetheless, you know, we're below 200 words here. Is this your, what is this? Just a picture. So you're not going to get a whole lot of optimization out of this. But covered the basics of how to begin running. Maybe you throw in here how to start running for, not for, but you see how difficult it can be? It's kind of hard. But when you're on your plane trips, when you're thinking of these articles, think of these direct type of titles that are, like this one is perfect. Effective weight loss principles. No stop words. If we do a Google search, let's see what we come up with. Effective weight loss, nutrition's online course, effective weight loss. So it's pretty competitive, which is to be expected because that's what we're dealing with in your industry. Okay, this February 1st. Just curious. Okay, it's not one of yours. You see how competitive even something as specific as that is. I mean, I'm down already to the 5th page, and we're not seeing anything that says fitness from science. And you can see here that we've got a green light. This is optimized. It could use a couple more focus phrases in the content, but again, there's no, oh, that's not the one we're supposed to be looking at anyway, is it? We want to look at effective weight loss. This was the one I just did, and I took the hammer, and we're pretty good. The keyword density is very poor, and that's because of the way that the article was written. There wasn't a whole lot I could do with it, and then like this, I added this in here. So the title needs to reflect what it is that you're doing. Now, when you're talking about writing an article, I tell you, don't even use Word. I mean, it's just as easy to open up a notepad and start writing. All they have to be is paragraphs, right? So you write humble jumble, jolly Jew, and all that good stuff for me and you, and then you click enter. And that's it, 2 times. Leave a space, and there's a new paragraph, and you do it all again. And you don't get any formatting. You don't have to copy and paste from Word to Notepad. And what's been happening too on your end is you're getting double spaces. I don't know if it's because you hit turbulence in the airplane or what, but or if it's the setting that you have in your Word program that says when I hit a period, give me 2 spaces. Or if it's just from your old college days where that's what they expected you to do. We don't want 2 spaces because you don't always put 2 spaces in. So we have this great inconsistency, and And if you're looking at sentence after sentence after sentence, many times I've had to spend time going through this on numerous occasions, getting rid of those. So I would just take Notepad, not WordPad, because it also uses formatting. And then once you have this, all you have to do is copy it, right? And move to your text editor and just paste. So if we go over here to our draft, which wasn't named, we can call this a test post. Now you see what's happened here. This is already put in the ID of the post, right? If we look, the ID of the post is 432, okay? And because you didn't put a title and you just came down here and started messing around, or I might have, whoever was messing with this, all you have to do is click edit on that and then put in test post. Now you see I've got spaces and capitals. Watch what happens. It automatically turns it into a internet-friendly slug. That's what it's called. Now, you get done writing this article. You have it all on this simple notepad. You can save these notepads in a folder. You can title them, whatever you want to do. But you just copy, move over to from your visual editor. You can tell when you're in your visual editor, you have all these buttons up here that are different than the buttons in the text editor. You find a space and you paste it. Now if we go back to our visual editor, you see it all just sits right there. There it is. This, if we look, has been wrapped in Times New Roman in this span. Okay, we don't want that. If you want to change that font, then you can change it through the visual editor. Okay, now you see now it looks the same. Now if I want to change this font, here's a perfect example of what I was telling you. You see this, we got keep 1 2 1 2. So I got to back up and I well, I like double spaces. The problem is it's not consistent throughout the whole website, and just don't do it. It's not necessary. It just isn't necessary. So if you're doing a double thumb every time you hit a period, then stop doing it. Just get out of the habit, because you're going to waste your time, my time, your money, all that. Now, if you want to change the font style of this from whatever the default font is on the website, then you just go to font family and you pick it. Okay? And these are all fonts that are internet friendly, website friendly. So we don't need any special font. So there's your Times New Roman. And there you go. Now, again, you only want to do that if you're going to maintain a specific formatting through the entire post for a particular purpose. Otherwise, we just leave it the same. We don't have, posts with, I mean, if you want to change the title posts to a different font, we can do that. But they should all be the same across the website. Yeah? Yeah. So, again, when, use a notepad, no formatting. Anytime you write anything, it should be coming from a text editor. There's a difference between a word editor and a text editor. Text editor means there's no formatting. The only formatting you get is word wrap. Word wrap or don't word wrap. And that comes from pressing enter. Right? So that's no word wrap. Word wrap, say it fast, right? And that is word wrap, which means it's just going to wrap to the size of your screen. No bottom scroll. Okay? And then look for a picture. Find a picture you have, one you've been using on Facebook. Whatever this picture is might be pertinent to use in, in whatever you're doing. Fitness from Science. You've got plenty of images that you've been uploading. All of these, any of these. I mean, if you're using them on the Facebook page, which is great, don't be afraid to grab them and use them as part of a post. Now, again, if you're not completely comfortable with how a post gets formatted after it's published, that's not a big deal. You see, I put the hammer right here because this is kind of right where you were talking about it. However, in a couple of our other posts, let's see what we got here. So all you do is when you're writing your content, and this one looks like it's even off a little bit, but it's not. When you're writing your content, you just put your cursor right at the beginning of the paragraph. And typically, we want to put our images over here, right? Only if they're ones that fit, like smaller ones. But images like this, you're going to put along with this block of content. And see, I just noticed something here. There's a space, an extra space you had. See, that was a little wonky. But you just put your cursor right at the beginning of the paragraph. It doesn't matter if you're going to insert it left or right. It does not matter one bit, okay? Because WordPress will do the rest. But even if you misplace it, I mean, you can't go wrong with just putting it at the beginning of the content and saying this is the image that's going to be used. Or if I'm going to come in after you've posted and I'm going to take information from the article that I feel is best, I'm going to pick what I feel is best out of, the quality title, and I'm going to optimize for all of these areas that we have. At least put an image as a featured image. And then I can insert that onto the post somewhere. Right? So all the way down here, we have our featured image. And then if we click on that, our featured image doesn't show again. That's our thumbnail. But that's our featured image. But that's not our featured image. That's the post image, which in the description, in the caption, says Hartford Marathon. However, we're not going to do that because our keyword phrase, our focus phrase, is going to be the endurance thing, right? And when I put that in there, and then I take the whole thing and I put it in there, and I give that a Fitness from Science. Now, here's where we're going to run into a problem. Now, it says it's not in the URL, but it is. But here's where we're going to run into a problem. I'm going to update And then there's no meta description. This is going to tell you everything that's missing according to this that we chose, right? So the image is going to be one of them. You can leave the caption the same. The caption doesn't have to change, but the alt tag and the title should match the focus phrase. You're going to see that there are no subheadings. So with our theme and with WordPress in general, well, that you can probably ignore because technically it is on the page. This is an H1 tag. One of the ways that we cheat is we, at the very end, use an H2 tag and we call it topic, right? So we say topic, colon, and then we just highlight it and we go H2, right? And now when I update, you're going to see some things have changed. See, here we have endurance, events. Okay, so you see a number of those changed. It does not appear in the URL of the page. Why? Why not? Let's see what this says. You know why? Because one simple little thing. This right here. So here's what I would do. I would actually change that to an endurance athlete guide. Why? Why is it so important? Because you are in a highly competitive niche. Every little cut and curve to make your stream more aerodynamic Okay, the page title contains, yeah, see, this is these stupid little things. You see what I'm saying? Do you see? You see where I'm coming from? We don't see endurance athletes guide anywhere in the first block of content. We know that the title is going to appear, right? But we need it in here somewhere. You have it down here. If you look at this right here, it says the page title, the keyword phrase does not appear in the URL. If you decide to rename the URL, be sure to check the old URL. I just moved it back. The meta description, we can go ahead and steal this right here. Okay, and you remember that's this section right here. We still got 27 left. You can grab it's free. It's a free. Let's see what resource gives us. So that puts us 5 over. We can probably just do this, dot, dot, dot. Leaves us 1 character. Let's see what we end up with now. Now you'll notice that our light's still green. That means we're checking out kind of okay. We've gotten rid of our red baller there. The copy, you were generally always going to be yellow. Don't worry about it as long as it says it's, okay. Anything above a 55 for a flesh score is pretty good, which means basically you want it at, a 7th grade level, something like that. The page title contains keyword phrase, but it's not in the beginning. What does that mean? It means get rid of the. It means get rid of the. I wonder, do we got anything misspelled here? Is this... Oh, let's do this. That's why. So we can actually put the back up here. No spaces. So it doesn't want it in the SEO title, not the actual title. So you see how we're kind of chipping away? Again, you're always going to have this yellow one for the most part. I mean, unless you write it at a 1st grade level, you're always going to have that one. It keeps telling us that it doesn't appear. That is not orange. It's yellow. So we're pretty good. There's some advanced settings. But this is the general purpose behind what we want to do. That we have 2 outbound links, we have our images, we have the focus phrase showing in one of the image alt tags. So again, this is kind of a broken post, meaning that it has, it's not just an article post. But we have the keyword density across here a few different times, and that kind of gives you the idea of what it is that we're shooting for, right? Make sure everything's saved. But this is a good example of a decently put together, and this one's been up for a while. Let's see what happens. Now I have to look here. Okay, so now here's the other thing. You're bouncing back to a third party. It's nice that you're sharing this information, but what are we actually doing? What are we accomplishing in this? We're just bringing more traffic to Hammer, and we're not bringing more traffic to Fitness from Science. So while it's okay to share this information, this post is not helping you one bit in looking at the Google search. It's all Hammer Nutrition, Hammer Nutrition, Hammer Nutrition, Hammer Nutrition. You may you may end up on the next page right here. At least that's where I found you. You may find yourself somewhere differently. Now that we optimized it a little bit, maybe it'll jump up the ranks. But because the title of the post is what we're optimizing for, then you're optimizing for something that is 1, 2, 3, 4, because we got to count Amazon as them, for, and possibly affiliates. If you want to become an affiliate, we can push that harder. If you have an affiliate account with them, that's fine. But you see my point. I mean, if you wanted to write about that ebook, I would personally have titled this something that doesn't reflect the title of their ebook and just mentioned it. So those are some things to think about. Again, I'm not walking in your shoes, so I'm not running in your shoes. I'm not bicycling in your shoes. I haven't been to the events you've been to. I haven't been in the experiences you've been in. And the purpose of this entire website is telling Bruce's story and how Bruce is going to share fitness with me through a scientific approach. And that's what needs to be continually conveyed in your posts. When you're commenting on your personal, and I can change this, by the way, when you're commenting on your personal approach toward your own fitness, then it can get personable. There's no problem with that. Progress is sometimes slow. Quick edit. Author Jack Sam, Bruce Whipple, update. Because we want all these to be you, right? They're not me. That was just an oversight. So this might have been a long video, but it's something that, you know, it's kind of like a webinar. I mean, because there's more to writing an article than I can possibly sit down and explain in a 10-minute video, and why and how it works. And I'm going to give you one last example before we move on. And this is from our site, Jagged Edge Media. Okay, we've done a little facelift here. We have our static homepage information, and we have this new post that I put out October 9th, 2013. Updating WordPress regularly. Okay. So we take a look at this post. It has an image. It has pretty much just, you know, the all around, I know what I'm doing with my SEO, and I got some outbound links. You know, that's the other thing. We want an outbound link. This goes to that's an inbound link. I have an outbound link that goes to another, our pro plugin, right? So I'm promoting myself, promoting our plugins, promoting. Now let's take this title, and I put this out October 9th. It's now the 21st. A few days ago, I just went like that and said, let's see. Look at this. First one. I'm not doctoring anything. You see the rest of them down here. why we don't support old WordPress versions. Yoast, these are the people we're using their plugin for our SEO. WordPress, why update regularly? YouTube video, we are on top of him in number 1. October 9th. This guy was February 6th, 2013. This is December 16th, 2010. It's outdated, but it's been around longer. So why are we above these other ones? Because that post is optimized exactly how it's supposed to be. And that is the point. I wrote the article with the title in mind first, knowing that I can't have this, I can't have that, I can't have this, I need to have this, I need to have that, I need to have that. So, when we look at our page analysis, again, the copy, I can only write so dumb, right? So can you. So, we're at 55. It's fairly difficult to read is what it says. Don't worry about that. We know our audience. Every one of the other ones is green, flashing, let's go. And I have the focus phrase in the URL, in the title, excuse me. And it's a basic article. I mean, it's nothing flashy, just explaining why one of our plugins doesn't work with the old version of WordPress. And from that, I give my professional recommendation on why it's important to keep updated. And you see this little trick here. This is an H3 tag, actually. There's another little trick, topic. Throw it down there. But we have to start. Now, you see what I did here? So if we look at this article, preview, where is that? View post. If we look at this article, you're going to see updating WordPress regularly. Why updating WordPress regularly is smart. See how I cheated there? Just to give that extra. Now, what I can do is I can uncheat, but that's an H2 tag, right? And I guess that's an H1 tag. So I have it in an H2, an H1, and an H3 because I cheated just a little bit. Although that size looks the same, doesn't it? So we'll have to look at that. But nonetheless, you get the idea. You get the gist. Right? So anyway, I'm going to end this.